gain control of target creature. Either you're a blue mage and you love it, or you're on the receiving end and you hate it. Taking control of other players' creatures permanently is usually reserved for those playing blue. But in today's video, I'm going to show you how you can change Act of Treason from being a temporary control effect into a permanent one. And all you need to do is add a little splash of white to your decks and have a basic understanding of what happens when things change zones and game objects. To start, an object is effectively anything in the game. An ability on the stack, a card, a copy of a card, a token, a spell, a permanent, or an emblem. Okay, got that? Nice and easy. Next step. Let's go into a really basic game situation. Let's say I have a Llanowar Elves in play and my opponent attempts to shock it. In response, I cast Momentary Blink. The spell resolves, Llanowar Elf gets exiled and then comes back under my control. But does it still die to shock? In this case, no. And that's thanks to this rule here. An object that moves from one zone to another becomes a new game object with no memory or relation to its previous existence. Now there are 8 exceptions to this rule, but they're not really relevant here, so we're not going to cover them today. Let's go back to the example. Our Llanowar Elves is being targeted by shock. In response, we momentary blink it. The spell resolves, our Llanowar Elf goes to exile, but when it comes back, they are a new game object. And even though it's the same card, shock has now completely lost its original target.
I've never met this man in my life.
And because of that, the spell fizzles and Llanowar Elves lives to see another day. So we now know that when an object changes zones, it's treated as a new game object. So how can we abuse this and steal creatures permanently in Boros colors? Let's go over how we normally steal creatures in red. Most red take control of creatures effects all have very similar wording to Act of Treason. Some of them even come with an additional effect. In this case, Act of Treason is a 3-mana sorcery that says, gain control of target creature until end of turn, untap that creature, it gains haste until end of turn. So effectively, when we Act of Treason our opponent's creature, we gain control of it and it comes with a little note, also known as a delayed trigger, that says, at the end of turn, return me to my owner. Now, it would be an awful shame if that creature was to somehow lose that little reminder. With a little bit of digging, there are a number of cards that can help us refresh a creature and cause them to forget that delayed trigger, allowing us to keep that creature permanently. Let's check out Cloud Shift. Cloud Shift is a 1-mana instant that says, exile target creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under your control. On the surface, this card looks exactly like Momentary Blink, but if we take a closer look, there's a key difference in the wording that makes this whole trick work. Momentary Blink returns the blinked creature to its owner's control, whereas Cloud Shift specifically says to return that creature to the battlefield under our control. So now let's combine everything we've learned to start permanently stealing creatures in our Boros control deck. We cast Act of Treason on our opponent's creature. We might be able to get an attack in or use its activated ability if it has one. And once we're ready, we cast Cloud Shift targeting it. The creature gets exiled, becomes a new game object, and forgets everything that's just happened to it. It comes back to the battlefield under our control, nice and clean with no delayed triggered abilities attached to it, which means we've now permanently gained control over a creature in our white and red deck. So there you have it, how to steal creatures in your Boros colored deck. If you learned something in this video, be sure to give it a like. If you've got any other rules, questions, or cool interactions that you know, let me know down in the comments below. Otherwise, check out this video YouTube thinks you'll like. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.